I'm Dr. Sandra Brown. I'm an ophthalmologist in North Carolina. It's Friday evening. I had a big day in the operating room today. I have hat hair, and this is my fifth attempt to make this video. I'm making this video because in my first video on eye drop safety, I had a digression on how I got scammed by fake Miro 128 that I bought on Amazon. And Rebecca gave me the feedback that this interested a lot of you, and you were also concerned about the possibility of inadvertently buying fake products from everyone's favorite online retailer, Amazon. So I did some research on how to try to feel more confident that you're buying an authentic product that's in good condition. And I did come up with a couple of tips for you. Now, please remember that unscrupulous Amazon Marketplace sellers are going to stay ahead of me in their attempts and potentially their ability to mislead you and me as a consumer. So you need to be practical and don't place your eyes at risk in an effort to save a small amount of money. So here's what I figured out. First, pay very careful attention to the seller. It turns out that most brand name products have two different types of sellers. First is the real seller. So let's say you're interested in a Refresh product, a Sustain product, a Blink product. If you search that and then you click on any one of those advertisements that comes up, underneath the big font with the name of the product, there's going to be small font. And if the small font says, visit the Refresh store or visit the Sustain store, and you click on that link and it goes to a web page that shows the whole line of that product, then most likely you are purchasing directly from the US distributor of that line of dry eye products. And you can feel pretty confident that the products are fresh, they've been correctly stored, packaging hasn't been damaged, unless Amazon damages it shipping it to you. And you're getting something that's completely equivalent to walking into CVS and buying it off the shelf. Conversely, if you look below the big font and you see small font that says brand, and the next to brand is the name of a company that you've never heard of, then that's a reseller. When you're dealing with a reseller, there's two possible things that might happen. First is that it's not actually the authentic product. It's some sort of clone product, and they've done a really excellent job of faking the packaging. Second is that it is the authentic product, but for some reason, CVS and Walmart didn't want to sell it anymore. It could be very close to expiration date. There could have been some problem with how it was stored. Maybe the warehouse got too hot or too cold. And somehow a bulk amount of this product ended up in the hands of this reseller. You really do not want that product. Even if it seems like it's almost two for the price of one, that should be a hint right there. Good products have value and hold value. Two for the price of one means that something happened to that product somewhere along the line, and you probably will not be able to figure it out. So just don't buy it. Along the lines of trying to avoid purchasing a fake or a knockoff, don't be reassured if the NDC number seems to match the NDC number of the real product. What's an NDC number? It stands for National Drug Code. And every listed product has a national drug code, a unique national drug code. And I can tell you that the NDC number on my fake Miro 128 box was in the same location, the same color, the same font, and the same number as the real Miro 128 box. So having that number on there, unfortunately, doesn't mean anything if you're purchasing from somebody who is bound and determined to deceive you. And you know, we're all in a hurry these days. I was certainly in a hurry when I placed that order for Miro 128 in between patients. And I didn't sit and stare at that box and assess it for authenticity. Although if I had, I might have noticed that the real Bausch Lomb uses the ampersand sign for and, whereas the fake Bausch Lomb used the plus sign. I don't really think that's going to save them in a court of law, but for me, it was a lesson learned. So you learn from my lesson also. If there's a product that you've used for years, first of all, buy it from the actual distributor. But if for some reason you realize you've inadvertently bought it from a reseller, very, very carefully examine the packaging. And in particular, look for the stamped or embossed expiration date, because one of the things that I did notice right away when I unboxed my Miro 128 was that there was no safety seal on the box end, and I could not find an expiration date. Then I started to notice a couple of other funky things like misspellings in some of the tiny font. And then I actually opened it up and I said, oh no, this is not the real thing. Then I had kind of a fight with Amazon to actually get me my money back. I had to threaten to start notifying various consumer agencies, and then they coughed it all up. Okay, what else? So also do not be reassured by a rather unknown product that has a large number of positive reviews. Particularly if the distributor of the product distributes one eye drop, 4 creams, generic Tylenol, aspirin, and adult diapers. Because this is a company that's just aggregating common products from various manufacturers and basically having their sort of own labels put on them, their color, their font, etc. But it's very, very unlikely that anybody at that company knows anything about eye drop manufacturing or safe packaging. And it's February 3rd, 2023, and the issue with Esri Care eye drops is very much in the news. That is an unfortunate situation where a distributor of a product which was manufactured overseas and actually labeled for a number of different distributors really didn't understand what they were selling, and it's caused some tragic outcomes. So, as I've said in a number of my educational videos on biologiceyedrops.org, buy drugs from real drug companies. Now, mind you, it can be a small company. Oasis Tears makes a very high quality product. They're not a really big company. They don't sell in stores, but they do what they do. They do Oasis Tears. So I'm not trying to disrespect manufacturers who don't make 12 different types of drops. What else do I have to say? I think those are the highlights. Know your seller. Don't be misled by highly similar packaging, including having the same NDC code. Don't be misled by a large number of positive reviews. If the distributor is a company that you've otherwise never heard of, except for on Amazon. And if you take it out of the Amazon box and it looks in any way different from the product that you've been using for years, hold up, inspect it carefully, and consider returning it instead of using it. Thank you for listening.